All right, let's do a speaker comparison. The Deluxe Reverb reissue through 4 different speakers. We've got the Eminence made for Fender stock speaker that's in its cab. In the Dr. Z cab is a Avatar Helitone A50, which is their 50-watt version of a Celestion Blue, so a 50-watt Alnico speaker. And then in my 2x12, which I use for most purposes around testing amps, and it's featured in a lot of videos. On top, there's an ET65 by WGS, which is very similar to a Celestion G12M65. And on the bottom, there is a Veteran 30, which is very similar to a Celestion Vintage 30, though it doesn't have that same quite notchy spike around 2K, which can be a little bit comb filtery with overdrive. So this will be a real-world comparison. It's not the most scientific, because they're each in a different cabinet, and the 2x12, the 2 speakers do interact. I will have an SM57 placed about the same point on each speaker. It will show you, in very broad general terms, the differences between the speakers. The only way to do it scientifically accurately would be to have the same speaker in the same cabinet with a mic never moving, and maybe multiple mics, till I find the best representation of each of them in that environment. That takes a lot of time. I don't have that time to do. This will be instructive, I think. And to eliminate any playing differences from the various takes, I'm not going to do various takes. I'm going to use a Ditto pedal by TC Electronic. This is not a plug. I don't get paid. I bought one because I find it useful for doing A, B, C comparisons when I'm testing things, including I can use it in such a way to give myself some actual blind testing. As a one-man shop, that's hard to do blind testing. But I'm going to play some basic stuff with a Strat into this Ditto pedal, and then on the playback will be through the same amp, through each speaker, with the mic set approximately the same. And for the first thing that you hear where I create the loop, I've got the mic kind of equidistant from all the speakers. You don't even know what speaker you're hearing on the initial playthrough, but it'll be apparent both because where the microphone is and the graphics that I put up, which speaker you're hearing at each point. I'm not going to do this thing where it's like a minute with one speaker, then a minute with another, because no one's aural memory is good enough for that. So the same part through one speaker, then the next, then the next, then the next, slightly different part through one speaker, then the next, and the next, and the next, etc. On the Deluxe Reverb, I have the volume set to 4 on the vibrato channel, also known as the reverb channel. I have the treble and bass set to 5.5, everything noon. I will have the reverb set to 3. And the reverb tank in this particular reissue is dead. The input is shorted, so it's getting a new reverb tank. This is an old Accutronics I had knocking around. So it'll be good, bad, or ugly. The only variable that you'll hear will be the speaker, slight variations in the mic placement. I can't do anything about that. And then just how the speaker interacts with the cabinet that it's in. I will say, skipping ahead a bit, having put a lot of different speakers into a Deluxe Reverb cabinet, while the cabinet does impact the speaker, you can still kind of judge how a speaker is going to do in a Deluxe Reverb. And one of the old tubes in this amp just developed a little bit of noise. It's gone now. I'll investigate that later. These are the original speaker tubes in the preamp of this amp from 1994 or whatever, so if one of them is acting up, it's not a real surprise. So let me hook up the Ditto pedal and record a basic intro, and then we'll get started on the playback where you can actually hear what the speakers sound like. All right, this is not going to be about flashy riffs. That doesn't tell us much about how an amp sounds. We do very basic things. You'll be able to compare the playback sound through each speaker and get a sense of what character each speaker offers. that ought to do as far as a lot of different tones, no changes to the amp. Let's see what the playback sounds like. If you like this sort of thing, if you find this interesting, if you find this useful, please like and subscribe, and together we will make the world a louder place.